Good morning. It's like a fairly small class this morning. We got myself with Jack, Nicholas, Brendan. How are you three doing today?
Doing pretty good, Mike. How about yourself?
Good, Brendan. Good to see you're here, Brendan. I see you have a presentation today, right? Yeah. I'm actually kind of tired today, to tell you the truth. Just hockey was late last night, and yeah, I didn't get home till after 11, so a little bit later than normal. Yeah, we've got a few more people joining. That's good. Now we're up to, what are we up to here? Five plus me. Okay, we're getting there. What is new? Well, I guess what is new is we have no strike. Isn't that the best news we could have had last Friday? I hope you are all happy about not having a strike. I know I am. It's sort of relieving to know that the semester won't be interrupted, won't be shut down. You know, your education won't be stopped, which is awesome. And we can move on and leave that behind us, which is great. Now, last week, did anyone go to the job fair that was on Tuesday? Anyone go and check out the job fair, the Connect to Careers or something, I think it was called? Connect to Careers. It was at right after this class, 11 o'clock. No one went. Everyone has a job. All right. I guess everyone had a job. Everyone has a job. How about that? We are in week 10, March 22nd. I'm also wondering, anyone go out and celebrate St. Patrick's Day on Thursday?
Had a beer. That was about it.
Not bad. At home, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else get out and do anything on St. Patrick's Day? St. Patty's Day? I remember the stories of my daughter. She went to Laurier, and they pretty well shut down the One Street Ezra, just with like thousands of people. And with the weather last Thursday, I don't know what happened in Waterloo last week, but uh, maybe a party happened. I'm not sure. But I went out with a few friends. Didn't really get in anywhere. Just went out for a walk around downtown Barrie. Stopped into the Flying Monkeys for a few minutes. Sampled some products. All right. Okay, we're starting to get a few people in the class, which is good. Should mention, hopefully you saw my announcement last week, just on Thursday. I did, I guess I had been falling behind in posting recorded lessons, which I don't know how that happened, but there was 5 weeks I think that I hadn't posted weeks 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 as I count on my fingers. That I hadn't posted for some strange reason, but I thought I had and at least some of those. So they were all posted last week, which, if you need to go back and check out any of the information from our classes, you can definitely check those out. And what we have today is we're going into television and ticket sales module. Also, we have a presentation with Gaganjot, Brendan, and Nick. If you are all here. I know Brendan's here. Gaganjot, I think, is here. Is Nick here? I don't know. Yep, Nick's here as well. Nick, I'm looking for Nick, but it's Nicholas. Okay. Excellent. All three of you are here. Excellent. Class has kind of picked up a bit with the amount of people. We are up to 9 plus me. Good to see that you guys have all survived one of the toughest weeks. I always think week 9 is one of the toughest weeks in the semester. It just seems like everyone has a hard time on week 9. Like it was just, like it was could have been the strike happening. It's when lots of things are due. I know there's not really assignments due, in this class. It's just a presentation, but it's good to see all of you survive week 9. And we are into week 10, the home stretch of the semester. Because then we only have week 11, 12, 13, 14, 4 weeks after this. Middle of April, we're done. Or middle to end of April, sort of. So, anyone have any questions about anything at this point? About the class? About anything that's happening in this program, in this course? Anything about Georgian? Everyone's just so quiet. Holy smokes. No questions. Okay, everyone knows what they need to know. All right, well, let me pull up the television and ticket sales. I have not shared it yet. It is coming. Now, I think I always say this about these modules, and I like the modules. I'm not so big on the concept overviews because I find them dated, especially the ones that are social media. Now we're into television and ticket sales. Well, ticket sales, yes, but like television, we'll be talking a little bit about the way games are broadcast, and the way people watch them now. Like I can remember 2015. You guys can remember that far back, about 7 years ago, and that's some of these examples were even before then. I was pretty, into watching. I think that was when the Blue Jays were doing quite well in the playoffs, and I think it was that year. And like I was getting the games on my phone in 2015 because I had figured out how to, get my cable network app on my phone and watch in 2015. So I thought that was pretty, cutting edge at that point. I don't remember too many people. I think I was at a hockey rink watching the Blue Jays because it's obviously the playoffs are later in September, early October, and I know I was watching the Blue Jays game as I was watching the hockey game that I was at as well. So, and that was kind of cool at that time. Now it's like I think everyone has that ability to watch it on their, or I shouldn't say everybody. Many more people have the ability to watch sports on their phone from anywhere. Let's see what they have to say in this concept overview. All right, that's what they're talking about. So television and ticket sales. Now, television broadcast agreements are definitely a substantial source of revenue for teams and leagues, and that is still true to today. In today's television landscape, live sporting events are extremely valuable assets for networks in terms of viewership and advertising dollars. I think it's just we're going to be talking about it as we get in here. MLB signed an 8-year agreement totaling 12.4 billion with Fox, ESPN, and Turner to broadcast weekly national contest playoff series and the World Series. That's a lot of cash. In addition, for example, the Cardinals and Diamondbacks agreed to long-term billion-dollar agreements. Crazy that people are spending billions of dollars on just watching sports. Just incredible. The significant increase in value for regional and national broadcast contracts led to billions of dollars in revenue to teams. The teams, in turn, then spent much of this new increased revenue on player contracts, right? That's where the money, some of it does go into the owners' pockets and, whoever owns the team. But the players, now they can pay more for players, but we know that there are uh, caps in many of the sports. So in hockey, uh, we know that the cap exists. Um, some sports don't have caps. Like in baseball, I don't believe there's a cap unless someone can tell me. I'm not big on baseball as hockey, but we know that they can only spend so much. But it does creep up every year. Um, so we have uh, international player bidding and stadium upgrades for soccer. We know that soccer, they get, the bidding is crazy. The amount of money that they're spending on different soccer players. Um, Zach Greinke, 6 years, $205 million contract. Um, Crazy, eh? So what's that divided by 200? That's about 18 point something million a year. Is that right? Six times three, six times 18. I think it's 18, something like that. 18 and a half, possibly. And then there's cable versus broadcast. And both cable, we know broadcast, Major League Baseball broadcast on ESPN, TSB, Major League Baseball Network, and Fox Sports. And broadcast network Fox, um, MLB uses the broadcast channel Fox to generate the most national viewerships for its premier contest. So Fox televises the World Series, national broadcast for every Saturday afternoon. So they have Saturday afternoon baseball. They kind of make it the thing. It's like Monday night football. And they have Saturday night hockey, and every sort of sport has a little spot where they call their own, right? And all day Sunday for football. Doesn't really matter. Football just seems to be the biggest sport in the States. Um, Fox was the fourth most watched network in 2015 and 14, double its viewership percentage of a fifth place Univision. But this is American, so we don't know if it's CBC or Sportsnet or TSN or who is attracting most of the viewers. I think it depends on the sport. I know the Leafs play most of their games are televised on Sportsnet, but some games are sold to TSN, and then your Saturday night game is also on CBC, I believe. Well, cable networks do not have the same reach as broadcast networks. Broadcast networks do not have the capacity to televise every single sporting event. I think I mentioned last week was Sportsnet was saying you can watch every goal from every player this year in the NHL. Like, that's just insane how they can manage to do that. Like when I grew up, and I'm maybe dating myself, Actually, we're gonna wait. I'm gonna tell that what happened to be a little bit later when we get into blackouts. Um, and Cable networks carve out niche markets for teams and leagues and grow their respective fan followings to generate revenue. Like I mentioned, the Saturday night hockey, the Monday night football, the Sunday football, or the Friday. Yeah, actually Sunday night baseball as well. I think there's always a Sunday night baseball game. Baseball just happens every day, so it's like it's just who knows what the best day for baseball is. Um, um, Live sporting events are lucrative assets for cable network. The network like Fox Sports One or New England Sports Network can leverage the popularity of teams like the St. Louis Cardinals or Boston Red Sox, respectively, or sport like MLB to generate consistent viewership through the weeks during the regular season will give teams value of televising their games to local fans. So then there's the regional and national telecast, which is the sort of things that it's what they want to focus on here. So regional telecast is one that is only televised in a particular regional television market instead of telecasted to every television across the country. So regional telecasts are important from the standpoint that a fan from Milwaukee will most likely not watch a game between LA and the Colorado Rockies. Just like, if you're watching uh, LA, uh, or let's say Anaheim Ducks and Vancouver Canucks. So you're probably not going to watch that game. So, but the people on the West Coast would watch that game, and from those areas. I remember when I grew up, when I was watching sports in the '70s, '80s. Um, a lot of those West Coast games you could never see because they were all regional. Like there was the Saturday night um, hockey. Saturday hockey night in Canada on Saturday was your national game, which usually had the Leafs or the Leafs or Canadians playing. But you rarely ever see a West Coast game. They never had the back-to-back games where it would be the 7 o'clock start. They play sort of the an Eastern game for NHL, and then they play the 10 o'clock game. Was the West Coast game. You never had that. It's just the one game, and that was it. Now it's games. Sometimes Hockey Day in Canada where they have, I think it's 5 games in a row, starting at like, I don't know, one, and then they go four, 1, 4, 7, 10, something like, maybe it's 4 games in a row, something like that. But there's a lot of games in a row. Never had that opportunity. So the way it's really evolved in the last 30 years is absolutely incredible. Like you can watch any sport, and then there's, the way, well, let's see. Regional telecast gives a fan an avenue to watch their local team play every game while generating revenue for television network through commercial sponsorship and advertisements. And national broadcasts are usually leveraged by the league to grow overall popularity of the sport. And for Major League, for MLB, a majority of national contests usually involve two longtime rivals like the Red Sox and Yankees. Don't see a lot of small um, market teams in the national broadcast as much. Um, and it's interesting because we don't have a football team, or sorry, I guess it's for baseball. We do have a baseball team. I was thinking more of NFL. We don't really have an NFL, so we always see sort of a national team, like the teams that the games that are broadcast across the country. So, and they also want to get the big market players like Trout or Harper at the time. Um, these games are televised on Fox or ESPN to generate the most viewership to reach viewership reach, and also the largest advertisement revenue. Both regional and national telecasts will play a vital role in developing a league's individuals, players, and its team popularity. So choosing between networks. So when deciding to enter into negotiations with a particular television network, it is important to gauge the impact and the sport has. For a more popular sport like NFL, it can choose any network that submits the highest bid because no matter whether it's regional, national, cable, broadcast, viewers watch the game, it doesn't matter. Major League Soccer, we see in Canada that most of the soccer, I believe, is on TSN. You don't see as much on Sportsnet. And certain networks will, do um, WWF or MMA, that sort of stuff. Maybe someone can tell me, what, where they watch that sport. Okay, downside to that, let's see. NHL faced a decision in 2011 when choose to sign a 10-year agreement with NBC and Versus, both owned by NBC Universal, making hockey the network's flagship sport instead of partnering with ESPN. That was a big decision back in 2011, 10, 11 years ago now. And at one time, it was common for a network to have the exclusive broadcasting rights but with the growing dollar figure attached to the rights, it become commonplace for leagues to divide up its television coverage to various broadcast networks. For MLB, the regular season and national broadcast rates are split between two networks, but the regional level MLB teams continue to enter into exclusive regional broadcast agreements, and consistency for fans allows for greater viewership. So that's what they're trying to do, is get more people to watch it, right? What do they have here? So I know they talk about blackouts. Yeah. So the first in is where two networks are, so cannibalization is when two networks advertise the same game. And we do see this actually currently. We see Saturday Night Hockey is broadcast on CBC and Sportsnet. You can choose to whoever you want to watch that one. It sounds like in MLB has the same thing. There is also this blackout rule that makes people, like, drives me crazy when they have blackout rules. The way blackout rules used to or originated is that if a game's not sold out, then we're not broadcasting it to your area. So if you live within, let's say, 100 miles of the if it was Maple Leaf Gardens, or if it was Maple Leaf Gardens, and it's a Saturday night game and it's not sold out, they didn't televise it to that local area. So very, like, what a pain in the ass that was. So what we used to get because Buffalo would have Saturday night games too, playing just across Lake Ontario. So on Saturday night, a lot of times you get to watch, or whatever other night of the week it was when it was blacked out, you would watch the Buffalo Sabres play out of Buffalo. So blackout did happen, and the NFL had a policy up in 2015 where the regional markets games were blacked out on television unless the game was sold out. But they suspended that policy because there were no blackout games because they were all sold out. So they suspended that rule. If they did that with baseball, I don't know if you'd ever see a baseball game on TV because I don't know the last game that was sold out. So revenue generation for teams in four major sports, the NFL, MLB, NBA, and NHL have some form of revenue sharing amongst the teams. So this is pretty interesting, that the amount of revenue sharing, and they get into some specifics here, and this is maybe older news, but NFL shares 75% of all league revenue. This includes national broadcasting, team licensing, and 40% of game seat revenue. So that's spread across all the teams. So that's what they mean by revenue sharing. If it's I don't know, give me a team here. Let me just think. The Tennessee Titans. I don't know. Maybe a team that's not as mainstream. or isn't doing all that great. I'm not even sure. Maybe they did do well this year. But that revenue spread amongst all the teams in the league, and that's if you have a team that's suffering or not doing so well, then they're guaranteed they're going to get a certain amount of revenue each year. So that's pretty good. And there's some other examples here. MLB lays out the base plan for revenue sharing and its collective bargain, collective CBA. We know they just agreed on a new CBA. I don't know any sort of the key issues that came up on this CBA that was just decided on. Does anyone know what happened with the MLB CBA this past few weeks ago? Nobody. All right, we'll move on to NBA. Individual teams receive equal percentage of revenue from these different television contracts. Teams also keep 94% of its regular season ticket sales, with the other 6% distributed. So a little bit distributed. NHL, it's uncertain here. They say it's uncertain to the exact percentages, but like the rest of the league, teams generate revenue through national and local television, radio broadcast, merchandise, individual ticket sales, season ticket sales, luxury, club seats, concessions, parking, advertising, and sponsorship, all kinds of ways to bring in money. Now, streaming is, I would have to say this is probably, it's what's happening with the broadcasting. It's just moving into our social media. So we're seeing that the apps are developed. So your Sportsnet app, your TSN app, you just watch your programming through that app. So there's also possibility there are some sports that I think broadcast through Twitter. Can anyone correct me on that one? It was NFL. Is my mic on? Yes, there are MLB games there too. Thank you. Maybe I should find the chat because sometimes I can't see the chat very well when I'm. Let me open that up so I can see. Ooh, where's my chat gone? I can't even find my chat today. Give me one moment. There we go. See the chat now. Thanks, Jack. So there are different spots. Also, I know people use Reddit to find sort of that free stream, free link, free website that carries a sport. I try sometimes. I can always never find it. I get my son in there, and he's probably like around your guys' age. He's in mid-20s. He usually can find a free stream in about a minute. So that happens as well. There's like pirated ways of watching any sort of games, especially like European soccer or the Premier League and all that sort of stuff. That he always seems to find that as well. The NFL experimented in 2015 with streaming a game in London through Yahoo Sports. In 2016, Twitter will simul stream Thursday night games with CBS and NFL. So here it was. Yeah, I guess I just wasn't reading ahead. It was only by my memory that Twitter did simuls. I guess that's quite a word that never really. I guess simul because it broadcasted with CBS and NFL and streaming it. Okay. I don't have cable at home. I think cable's definitely a thing of the past, but they're rebundling it. So watching it on your app is almost the exact same as watching it on TV. All the commercials are getting integrated and weaved into the broadcast. Remember when we first started watching sports through your app? When it went to commercial break, it would just be sort of a blank screen that came up that said commercial break in progress or something like that, or gamer resumes shortly. It didn't take these different networks or different uh, broadcasters to figure out that they can put advertisements during that time, right? All right, and what else do we have here? Oh, some key terms. So blackout, non-airing of a live event, in particular in the media market. And that still happens. Like I still go to watch a game and it'll be like, this game is not available in your region. What are you talking about? What region am I in that I can't watch a game? Okay. Broadcast networks that use airwaves to transmit signal to any individual that has a television with an antenna. Here's some examples. So broadcast networks. Okay, broadcast. So cable networks that use airwaves to transmit a signal to paid subscribers. And I guess broadcast networks. Does anyone have just a TV with an antenna? Is there anyone here on the call today that has just a TV with an antenna? I tell you what, I'll tell you when I grew up, I had a cottage up in Halliburton area. We had a TV tower with a big antenna, and we got one station. Usually, sometimes got two. We would get CKVR, which is, I think it's called, used to call the A channel, and anyways, VR. We went through a lot of different. Um, Thanks, Trevor. I'll mention that in a second. So the games I used to, a kid up in cottage country with a TV, and it would be, trying to we get this one channel, channel 3, and it used to have, I think baseball was about the only thing you could watch on there, as a sport that was broadcast. I don't remember watching too much hockey up there, but actually, what hockey would be broadcast in the summer anyways? What am I thinking about? So it probably was baseball because I was up there in the summer. If I ever did sort of try to tune in. And the odd time we get another channel, but that was just from the antenna. That was the broadcast. The cable, yeah, definitely slowly moving away from cable, into more of a data or over the internet broadcasting. I think that's definitely the way of the future. I don't think that's any secret at this point. National telecast across the country, regional market, and streaming services. So, and this is what we're seeing with over the internet being played immediately instead of had to be downloaded. MLB TV, NBA TV, NHL.com, and then we have all our, oh my God, there's so many streaming networks now with Amazon and Disney and Tubi, and what else is there? There's Crave and Golf Channel, NHL Network, um, and so on and so on and so on, right? Okay, so I am going to give you a few minutes to do the quiz because the quiz is based on the concept overview. It is 8:35, so I will give you until 8:50. 8:50, where I'll come back and take you through uh, the the practice, the learning phase. All right. Okay. So you have 15 minutes, and I will be back at 8:50.